As I mentioned earlier in the show, and I'm paraphrasing here, but our next guest was quoted in the Hill newspaper last night talking about the fact that Republicans are very happy with the election results at the presidential level, but he also made it clear that no matter who is the president, and again, it's a paraphrase, but that we have to avoid sinking into an imperial presidency, and people don't want that in this country. Right now it's 8:17 and it's 30, going to call it 36. Bill Colley with you on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. And we welcome back to the program Congressman Raul Labrador. Welcome, sir.
Hey, it's great to be on the show, Bill.
I'm going to get the big one out of the way right away. Lots of people are walking around this state and they're saying that Raul Labrador is going to be running for governor in 2018. Are you ready to announce today?
I am not. I'm sitting down with my team, sitting down with my family. We're going to make a decision. We got to breathe a little bit. After the election, I spent a lot of time campaigning for myself, campaigning for other people in Idaho, and as you know, campaigning for Trump around the United States. So it's time for me to enjoy our victory. We had a huge victory in Idaho. I was really pleased with the people supporting me, with the things, it was the biggest margin of victory that I've had since I've run for office as a congressman. So I'm very pleased with the results, and now I'm going to sit down with the team and my family and make that decision. So no, I am not ready to make any announcements right now, but thanks. I never get asked that question.
I'm sure you don't. We saw, just some sweeping changes. It's not just the fact that Trump was a surprise to a great many people, but across the country, 33 Republican governors now, and I guess there's still, I haven't heard if they've decided North Carolina yet, but 33 Republican governors. The number of seats by Republicans in state legislatures continues to grow by leaps and bounds. It's growing in Idaho. Your overall reaction is, does this show that the public has finally decided that we need to change direction and for good?
I think it clearly shows at the national level that it shows two things. At the national level, they're just tired of everything, and that includes members of Congress. They decided to bypass Congress, to bypass the House, the Senate. As you can tell, there wasn't much change in the House or the Senate. They just say, you know what, we're going to send Donald Trump to Washington, D.C. to move things around, to change things, because they're tired of us not getting our work done over here. But at the state level, it's a little bit different, in my opinion. At the state level, you have the best governors and the most productive governors throughout the United States are Republican governors that are doing good work and are helping their states become more productive. And you see some examples around the nation of the things that some of these governors are doing. And frankly, I wish we were doing a little bit more in Idaho, some of those things. But I think they have seen what Republican governance does, what happens in those states. The states are increasing their productivity, their gross domestic product. They're increasing their number of jobs, the types of jobs that they have, and I think more and more people are excited about that.
We've got 8:20. Congressman Raul Labrador joining us on Top Story this morning on KLIX, along with Bill Colley, and I've got 37. Congressman, when you get back to Washington, and is there going to be a special session first of all, or will you just go back in January?
No, we're here right now. So I'm calling you from Washington, D.C., and we have a session this week. We've worked so hard this week that we're going to go back and celebrate Thanksgiving. That's a joke. But then we come back right after Thanksgiving, and we will be here for a while because we have to finish the budgeting and appropriations process for the year. So and that could take some time. The Democrats are kind of sore about their loss, and we're pretty giddy, but you still have to deal with Congress as we have it now until the end of the year.
I was reading yesterday where there's a push among some to restore earmarks, and I think the Heritage Foundation is arguing against that, and I know you're often featured in their publication, The Daily Signal. Do you think we're going to see someone make that attempt, or will
that's actually going to be introduced? I believe it's today or tomorrow that we have our rules changes, and that's going to be introduced as a rule change, and I'm definitely voting against that, and I hope it doesn't pass. I think that would be pretty destructive to the process, because the problem with the amendment that they're trying to pass is that it doesn't really reform the earmarks process. If you want to have earmarks, you got to have some major reforms to the earmarks process, and they haven't reformed that yet. All they're trying to say is to get earmarks back, and I would be very opposed to that.
Coming up, looking at 2017, is there anything that you think really tops your agenda that you'd like to see accomplished when you get back to work?
Well, I'm excited because, as you know, immigration reform is one of the top items that Donald Trump is working on. And we are going to have a wonderful opportunity. I just got out of a meeting in the Judiciary Committee where all the Republican members were meeting, and we were talking about the opportunities that we have. And I'm one of the leaders in the House on immigration reform. This is my bailiwick, and it's something that I've been able to lead on for the last 6 years. I'm pretty hopeful and optimistic that this first year we're going to be able to do some pretty big things on that.
And people, and I've been telling listeners that that when you say build a wall, it may not necessarily mean literally a wall, but
Exactly.
you're talking. There's a number of different technical things you can do along the border, and it can deal with enforcement and sanctuary cities and the like. And so there's a whole array of things that can be put in place that will help control this situation.
And when you talk to the Border Patrol, my office has a very good working relationship with the Border Patrol Union. You know, the people that Trump was always touting that they supported him. We have a very good relationship with them. And when you talk to them, they explain that the border of the United States is divided into sectors, and each sector actually has different needs. Some of those sectors need physical walls. Other sectors actually need more of a virtual fencing. Other sectors just need technology. So what we need to do is work really closely with those Border Patrol agents and with the union so we can figure out exactly what their needs are in every one of those sectors. What they don't need from us is, number one, what the Obama administration was doing, which was not working with them at all, just telling them that they shouldn't enforce the law. Or number two, to just send them a bunch of mandates to say, you're going to do it the way that we tell you, not the way that your experience tells you. So we need to make sure that we work with them and we understand. For example, if you go to San Diego, I've gone to the border in San Diego. There's a whole area where the wall is, but the wall ends right where the mountain range begins because the terrain is so difficult to traverse that they don't really need a physical wall there. What they need more there is technology so they can actually check those areas. So there's a lot of different things that we can do, and I think we need to work closely with the Border Patrol to make sure that we get it right.
I think it's akin to. I watched a fellow talking about in a documentary about the First World War last week, where he explained the trench line was not continuous because he said you do have swamps and you do have mountains, and you can't dig a trench through a swamp because it floods the rest of the trenches. So
Exactly.
geography changes along this border frequently.
Yeah, parts of our border are actually right in the middle of the Rio Grande. So are you going to put a wall, in the river? I mean, there's a lot of different things that you can do where the technology will allow you, where you may just need some other things to happen. One of the biggest problems that I actually, even after practicing immigration law for 15 years and dealing with this issue for 15 years, I didn't realize some of the problems that we have on federal lands. We actually are It's a really small change to the law that we need to make, but we prevent the Border Patrol from using motorized vehicles on federal land in some areas. So what they do is when they reach the border of the from private land to federal land, they actually have to get out of their vehicles to pursue an individual. That's absolutely ridiculous. So those are some of the things that we need to change, and we need to give them the flexibility so they can do the job that they're doing down there.
I know we've got just about a minute left. Is there anything that I left out that you think that you need to mention today?
No, it's just exciting, and it's good. It's the beginning of a new day, and like you said, that's a great quote. Like I said in the paper, we do have to do our job as members of Congress to make sure that we keep the checks and balances in place for all administrations, not just Democratic administrations, but Republican administrations. They sent us here to do the job of the Congress, and we need to make sure that we restore those Article 1 powers that we have, which are so important for America to remain strong and optimistic.
Well, I thank you for your time again, and we look forward to talking. I guess probably once more before the end of the year, sometime in December. And good luck in special session.
Thank you very much.
Take care, sir. Congressman Raul Labrador joining us this morning from Washington, and as of course he pointed out, they're still in session. It is not ended, and they'll be back after Thanksgiving for additional work to try and get some budgeting done going into next year, and then some real excitement begins come January when they have a Republican president. And a lot of these changes that he's talking about along the border and the like are, to use borrow a line from a movie and maybe the Obama White House, Fast and Furious. Uh, and we'll be done at a fast and furious manner, or they should be, because I think I read a great comment about this today from Victor Davis Hanson, the historian from the Hoover Institute at Stanford University. He was writing at National Review, and his column about Donald Trump today is simply entitled Carpe Diem, which means seize the day. It's Latin for seize the day, because you may not have an opportunity again 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road to ever get a lot of these things done. So the first 100 days of the Trump White House is going to be a very, very busy time. Coincidentally, since we're talking about Trump White House, and I've got about a minute before the break, and then we have Better Health with Trip Family Medicine between 8:30 and 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1310 and News Radio 1310 KLIX. If I get a chance, I want to talk about how the media is trying to portray through subliminal messaging, and I kid you not, some of the people who are working on the Trump transition team as being dangerous. So if I have that opportunity, I'll certainly write about it at our website too if I get that chance. 37 right now, and just want to point out, if you're having difficulty hearing our program, you need to get in touch with Dr. Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology at Mount Harrison Audiology in Rupert. And she'd like to open your world to new sounds and experiences. A new hearing device is available which works with the brain to help those with hearing loss hear more naturally than any previous aid on the market. She's offering a 2-week free trial with these new devices. You can call today to schedule your personal fitting appointment. Open your world to better hearing. You can call Mount Harrison Audiology. The telephone number, 312-0957. Once more, that's 312-0957. We've got plenty more coming up. As I said, we're expecting a visitor from Trip Family Medicine, and then one more hour of top stories ahead here on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. It's 8:30.